Welcome, everybody, to the Advanced Selling Podcast, the longest-running sales training podcast in podcast history. My name is Bryan Neal.
And my name is Bill Caskey.
Wow, that was very right on cue.
I was very thoughtful.
I don't know what happened the first time. We were 30 seconds in. No audio, but we're here. Glad you're here. If you're not a part of the Insider, what are you waiting for? Go to advancedsellingpodcast.com, join the Insider program live. Coaching with my friend Bill Caskey every first Friday. Is that right?
First Friday, and we had ours last Friday. Got one in June coming up. Awesome. If you're on our email list, I'm going to be sending out some kind of just like a video recap, so you see what we talk about. Because sometimes you think, oh, do I really need another $97 a month thing? And I wanted to share with you what we talked about, so you can see the value of it. So we'll be sending that out. So if you are not a part of the email newsletter list, then go to advancedsellingpodcast.com and hop on that.
Just hop on it. Yeah.
Hop on it. I was listening to a podcast the other day with a guy who I know, and he knows me, and we've had some very small business dealings, but I like the guy, and I'm not going to say who it is. But every time the host, or every time the guest, he had a guest on, and this guest was very complimentary toward the host, the guy I knew. And the first time he said, "Hey, well, listen, first name, I got to tell you, I've just been thoroughly impressed with your podcast, and it's just such a nice treat to be invited on." And my buddy, my guy, the host said, "I received that."
Oh man, that's triggering.
That's not where you thought I was going.
It was not. I thought you were going Chick-fil-A on us.
My pleasure.
I thought you were going Chick-fil-A with my pleasure when you said what people say to say thank you.
But he said it 3 times during this one episode, where the guy casually threw out well, you're really good at this, first name. Oh, I received that. Oh, come on, just say you're welcome, or it's my pleasure.
Now I'm gonna go a little dark, but I'm over this. We've both had our experiences in recovery things in our past. You're public about it. I'm fairly public about mine with my dad. And we did an intervention with my dad, and that's what my dad said. And then kept drinking until he died. And I'm not saying that bad. It's okay to let, no, but it's true. He literally said, "I received this." And I had the same reaction you do. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, we're trying to save your life here, brother. We're trying to save your life. And I'm not making light of my dad. Lots of years of therapy.
Sorry to laugh. I'm laughing at the circumstance.
Please do, because it's true. I'm like, what? I received it. What does that even mean? You know what I mean?
Well, this had to be 20 years ago for you then.
Oh, at least. I almost, let's see, 8 plus 6, 14 years ago.
Okay.
Probably 15 years.
Well, I thought this was a new thing, because I've heard people say it.
Well, so maybe my dad was ahead of his time. Maybe God called him up a little early, hey, we need you up here, bro. Can you send down the response when people try to get people to stop drinking? Just say, "I received this," and keep drinking so you can get up here sooner. Oh man, that's crazy. That's not where I thought you were going.
What should you say? Oh, no problem.
Thanks. How about thank you? Thank you. Appreciate that. Very nice of you to say.
I appreciate that. It's very nice.
Appreciate that. And you can even say thank you. I'm really proud of what we built here. I think that's okay to say. I'm very happy. We worked really hard. We're proud of it.
I do too.
I received this.
You can receive it without having to say.
I just don't know what that means. It's almost like I'm not going to totally accept it yet. I'm just going to receive
Considering it.
I'm not going to agree with it or acknowledge it or say thank you. I'm just going to receive it. So I'll put it over here with the other things that I've received.
I've received lately,
right? Yeah. And just put it in the
my
stack.
List of compliments I've received is very long.
Right.
I can't possibly receive.
Is there, honey, we have any room for any more compliments back there?
We're booked.
No, we're going to have to. Okay. Yeah, we're getting a storage facility, but we don't have it yet. So if you could come back with that compliment, that would be awesome.
Oh, okay. So anyway, that was my.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
As I get older, I know that I become a little bit more intolerant of those kinds of things. And, some of you are saying, "Well, what's a big deal, Bill?"
Yes,
it's a big deal. Well, it's not. It's just
thank you.
Odd. So I knew you'd get a kick out of that.
I got a great kick out of that. It was my dad's birthday last week, so in a very healthy place. So,
good.
My relationship with my dad, who's passed on, and it was his birthday, so it was great.
Good.
It was great. Good memory.
Okay, topic today. I have been. My voice changing?
You're the Peter Brady of the Advanced Selling Podcast. There's that.
Topic today is comes from a lot of my work with companies and their sales teams, and a lot of what I hear in the marketplace. And the way I positioned this to Bryan when I pitched the idea is, everybody wants more. We want more customers, more profitability, more this, more that. We want more. We don't want to work harder for it, which I agree, but we want more. And so then the question is, well, what do we throw at this? What do we do to get more? And we typically buy coaching, buy training, whatever. We, engage a guy like Bryan or me or the other 40 million people who do what we do similar. But the question becomes is, I don't think we're working on the right problem when we're always working on training of skills. I think the modern buyer has changed their behavior significantly enough that we had better start studying that. Because if we're always studying ourselves and not the person to whom we are selling, persuading, engaging, then we keep hitting our head against a rock and not being able to close business. And so therefore our closing percentages are 15, 20, 25%, and they should be higher than that. And I think the reason they're not, because we're paying no attention to buyer behavior today.
Really good. I took a class called Buyer Behavior in 1991.
Yeah.
A little different than it is today.
A
little different. Great class. I really enjoyed it. It's one of the few classes I really enjoyed and thought was practical after the fact.
Was it a business class?
It was a business class at the IU Business School in the marketing department. Buyer Behavior. It was a really good class. It's very interesting. It's very psychology based. And then I worked at Procter and Gamble, and it was all seemed gamey to me back then. I feel like everything was trickery. I saw a marketing thing. And I get it, but I saw this marketing thing that gave names to all these things, like the popcorn pricing rule, where you have 3 offerings instead of 2, and the second one is just a little bit below the first one, so everyone upsells. You get $2 for the same amount of stuff, or something like that, or the 99 center, the one below $1,
or 97
psychology, all that stuff. Yes,
99. Yeah.
So it's real interesting to me, and one observation, and I've not given as much thought, I don't think, to this as you have, so mine's a little off the top of my head. There are some common things I think that we'll talk about here that you think, well, how has buyer behavior changed? I love the concept first, I'll tell you, that you said that we need to study how buyers buy more than we need to study how we sell.
Yeah.
Like that's a brilliant statement and a real great reframe of the whole, because everyone run around, as you said, the 40 million of us spewing ideas and advice is 99.99% around what do you say, how do you get, versus how do I understand, and then how do I adapt. Very different.
And how do I sync up my behavior, not so I can manipulate, but so I can help them eventually get what they want, which is a solution to their problem, help me get what I want, which probably is a new customer or their money or whatever. So it's simpatico there. It's both.
Yes. So one thing that I wanted to bring into this, and I'm not by any means an expert in this, is the generational differences that are occurring as the world, gets older. Millennials get into buying areas. Gen Zs come into buying influence arenas, different than Gen X and baby boomers. And that's a thing. I was talking to a Gen Xer who were actually the same age in a sales environment. And he started to use some old techniques that we're both familiar with from a really big brand that everybody knows. And it was you used to be a member of this company, Bill, back in the day. And everything was based on this, what I think is pure manipulation. In fact, I heard the founder, whose name is the company's named after, even say in a tape back in the day that the sales game is all about manipulation. He talked about John Elway manipulating the defense and in football, and that's what it's about. It's not about that. It is, right? Exactly. It was acceptable then. In this conversation, this guy is buying from me. He did that. And I said, I can tell you're blank trained. Mm-hmm. He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, you just did the thing. And he goes, oh, well, no. And now I said, now you're doing that thing. Yeah, exactly. And he's like, started laughing. He goes, okay, whatever.
I give up.
Exactly. Okay. We're not going to, no more manipulation, no more, So the point is, I think the world is tired of that. Number one. Number two, even if you're a Gen X or a baby boomer, you're so aware of it, you know what's going on. It just doesn't work. It's not effective because it shows that you're not being like real, authentic in that, whatever. So that's a long way to
totally agree.
Generations matters.
I can tell when someone who has been through this training, when I come across them, because they have a certain smell.
Right.
Certain scent.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go through. I've got 2 or 3 things here that I think are at the heart of where buyer behavior has changed.
Yeah.
And then you weigh in, and maybe we can come up with, is there one thing that we can recommend to avoid this or navigate through it? Number one, I think there is a much more self-directed research angle now that the customer can go to the internet, Google, wherever, now, AI, and get a lot of information that they don't have to depend upon you for.
Yeah.
So it used to be that salesperson was privy to all the insider, the technical specs and all that stuff. And now it's just not true. So they can do a lot of the research before you even get the call or even show up. Or even if you do show up and then you leave, guess what they're going to do over the next week is they're going to research the heck out of whether what you were saying is true or not.
Yes. There's no doubt. And it's that to me is and we've been talking about this, like everyone's kind of dabbled in it, like, like all the stats that people throw around, 85% of the buying process is done before they even talk to a salesperson. Like that to me is just all like, that's just like base house rules now. That's just baked into the cake.
Right.
It versus like, oh gosh, that's but people they don't sell that way is the point. They don't sell that way. They might even know that and don't do anything with it.
So if you believed, let's just say 70%, but whatever it is, 70, 80% of the sales cycle is executed, the journey is started before you show up.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the sales professional or the business owner who has a sales team? Okay. So now what do I do with that?
I just saw Gary Vaynerchuk talking about this. And again, this is not like a new idea, but I do think you've got to take it from an idea and put it into practice now.
Right.
Is the person who puts the most educational content out and toward people, both broadly, and then also I just saw a different person put something on LinkedIn I thought was really clever, not clever like tricky clever, like that's really intelligent clever, is guiding people along a efficient process and educating them along the way without talking to them. And you do that through a personalized video, through a personalized case study, through a connection to an existing customer, those sorts of things that facilitate the efficient process to yes or no.
Yeah, that's right.
And push it to them. And these, go ahead.
Yeah, and you said something there that I want to call you out on a positive way. You said, without talking to anyone. I don't think that's our decision. If somebody calls me because they've heard a podcast or they've researched me or something, I don't say, "Oh, I can't talk to anybody until you watch these 7 videos." That's not the way. But what I know is that people won't even call until they've watched the 7 videos and then say, "Okay, I'm comfortable. He seems like the right dude or whatever."
Yes.
So
yes, and yes.
I don't think it's a matter of avoiding conversations at all. It's a matter of how are people making decisions? Well, they're not calling salespeople right out of the blue like they may have used to. They're actually checking you out and they're consuming content, whether it's video or audio or whatever. So
yes,
I like that.
No doubt.
I noticed that I had a guy who I saw on Twitter. He offered a free booklet. It was a booklet that spoke to some of the things I'm working through in the business right now in life. And so I thought, well, it might be interesting. And so I asked him for it. It never came. I direct messaged him, said, "Hey, I tried to get it, couldn't get it." He said, "Okay, I'll send it to you. By the way, I've got a program starting on Monday. Do you want to be a part of it?" And this guy holds himself out as a marketing expert. And I'm like, "No." So, well, why not? Be blunt with me. Be blunt. And you can start to see, okay, well, he's just shilling. He's just shilling a program, and he wants people to. And I'm like, I didn't say it because I declined because I don't have time for free advice. But it's like, well, you didn't help me buy, brother.
No.
You did not help me buy. You didn't tell me anything about the program. There was no web page to go to. There was no video of you describing how it's going to benefit me. It was more just, hey, you want in? I only got 2 seats left.
Yeah.
It's bull. Okay. Explicit.
Well, so this is and I kind of hinted it a little bit, another one of my observations of how buyers buy these days. I believe buyers buy in a transparent, efficient manner. And if you ask any of them, would you want to do this in a transparent, efficient manner to the highest extent, the most transparent and efficient manner possible? Everyone's going to go, please, God, yes. That's all I want. That's all they want.
That's right.
And I think the way to do that is by having defined, one-page visible process with even dates and times on it that say, here's the process that gets us to yes or no. That's it. And it's got dates and times. And, we run on this program I mentioned, EOS based on the book called Traction by Gino Wickman's awesome system. We've been on it for about 3.5 years. Well, you buy EOS, they take you through what's called a 90-minute meeting, and they hit their marks like at 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 58 seconds, the guy's done. And that's it. And he goes, if you want to do the next meeting, you pay my fee. Here's my fee. That's it. And that's it. And they've got 10,000 companies who've been sold that way. Yeah. And I believe people will love to buy that way. Efficient and transparent.
I do too. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. I've got a second one here that, and we should do another episode of this if you're okay with it.
Oh, for sure.
I feel we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah.
Here's another one. I heard something the other day that talked about the trust recession or trust gap. I'll call it a trust gap. And the trust gap is what exists between your customer and you, or your prospect and you. You think they trust you because you're trustworthy. They don't trust you because they've been burned before, they've been lied to before, they've had engagements with people that have been okay. And then you come along and say, oh, I'm different. They don't believe you. They just don't believe you. And I know that we think, well, personal brand helps that, and it does. And no, we really want to be honest with them. I know. I'm not saying you're not honest. I'm saying that they are conditioned by the previous experiences they've had. So they are very suspicious. It's not even they don't trust, they're just suspicious of you. And so how do we close that trust gap? Some of the things that you just mentioned are ways to do that. Being totally transparent, being unbiased. Look, I'm not invested in whether you work with us or not. I would love to have you as a client, but I also know that not everybody fits me and my personality. So if we get to the end and I'm not the right guy, let me know. I'm fine with going back into the woods for another 4 years, trying to find food. Anyway, so the trust gap, I think, exists, and I think we're blind to it, most organizations, and we just think, well, we'll just keep going. They'll trust us. They love us. Hey, Mikey, they love us.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I completely agree, and part of it goes back to one of the core things that you and I've talked about for years, which is the intention of the seller and the intention of the buyer. And to me, it should be very balanced and equal.
Yeah.
Meaning that we both vote. We go through we vote to go through a process together. We vote on how long that's going to take, give or take. We can modify it if we need to. And then we're going to vote yes or no along the way, each step. You get a vote and I get a vote. If we get 2 yes votes all the way through, we do. The moment we get a no vote from one or the other,
from either.
Yeah, it's a side. Yeah, can we work through something? Maybe. Or if it's just a thing that's a no, it's a no. And it should be from you or us. And I don't know any salespeople or any sales coach that talks about that. They some very lightly, like, get to know fast. I'm like, but do you really mean that? Yeah. Do you really mean that? I think what you mean by that is, let's get through my process. I'm going to ask you for the order, and then you're going to tell me no fast. That's not what get to know fast is for me. Get to know fast is one meeting with you, Bill, and go, man, where you guys are at startup wise, that's not really what our program's for. Yeah. So I'm going to suggest you go somewhere else after 15 minutes. Yeah. And mean it. And it's not a move.
And it's not a move. It's not some kind of a manipulative strategy to get to know so that you can then pull out your, the real tools, the real weapons,
the handlers, the objection handlers.
Exactly. A bag of how to handle no.
Is that it? Now, are we done now, Bill? Is that it? Are we done? Can we talk? Now that we're done.
Oh, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of using that back in the
well. That's in the
90s.
But it was modern then. It was modern. And it's not. It's really old now and tired. It's tired.
So here's what I would recommend on the trust deficit. If you feel like there might be that, and it's usually in companies where buyers have been so conditioned for average vendors that when you come in and with all shiny and bright and all the hoopla, they don't believe you.
Yeah.
So I think one way to build that trust gap to fill it is to be explicitly clear about the process, which we talked about, number one. What is the process that they will go through in the event they want to talk to you? And what are the milestones along that process so that here's a yes, no place. Here's where we decide whether it's a fit or not. After the second call, we decide that. And just get a little bit more intentional and explicit about what the buying process. We talk about sales, but what's the buying process look like?
Yeah, that's really good. I love it. You want to pick this one up? Next episode?
Let's pick it up next episode because I got 27 more here.
Continued on. We're going to write a book about buyer behavior. Check out the Insider Group at advancedselling.podcast.com. Go join that. Live coaching from my friend Bill. And big LinkedIn group. We've got 13 or 14,000 of you on a LinkedIn group. Go join that. We'll post things up there periodically, and that's it. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.